TIL. That ejaculation is initiated by the spinal cord, not the brain. A group of neurons, called LST cells, control and coordinate the various aspects of ejaculation and send signals to the brain, indicating the occurrence of ejaculation. Priapism. Uncontrollable erection in the setting of spinal trauma is bad. Suggests spinal cord injury. Also, to really pickle your sympathetic nervous system fighter let's get shit done part of your brain controls the actual ejaculation. Whereas the parasympathetic nervous system rests in Netflix and chill part of your brain is what controls the erection. Two opposite forces in your nervous system combine to make the magic happen. It's interesting that before modern medicine placed the production of semen in the testicles, it was believed to originate in the head, like some kind of condensed consciousness, or in some cases, it was akin to the final, refined, and formative product of digestion. Then it traveled down the spinal column and out the penis. Plato characterized semen as a soft flow from the spine, and Leonardo da Vinci rendered semen coming from the spine in his 1493 drawing, the copulation. The peripheral nervous system has two elements: the sympathetic nervous system, this is your flight or fight, and your parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. The parasympathetic is responsible for a penile erection, while the sympathetic is responsible for ejaculation. It is easy to remember which half is responsible for which function because parasympathetic starts with a P, and sympathetic starts with an S. P and S, point and shoot. So, are we talking about ejaculation or orgasm here? They are very different phenomena, and I know for a fact that while I have explicit, gated control over how and when I orgasm, I do not have such control over when I ejaculate. The problem is that whenever I see these things discussed, people often conflate the two. I physically cannot orgasm unless I am intentionally pushing on it, but even when I orgasm, I rarely ejaculate. I recently went down a rabbit hole that led me to believe the most significant life inside our complicated body machine are located in the spinal cord. So the real controller and interpreter of our reality is inside our spines, not our brains. This is even more of an admission if the spinal cord cells are also responsible for reproduction. Does anyone else get a lower back pressure a little during and then after an ejaculated? It's not all the time, and it seems to happen more after a night of drinking. I always thought it was my kidneys screaming at me to save whatever liquids you have to save itself, but I wonder if it's more spinal cord related now. Makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint. We could ejaculate long before we had higher order thoughts. My understanding is that most low-level functioning comes from the brain stem, which was like a precursor to the rest of the brain. The spinal cord would be a precursor even to that. I once gave a lady oral, and when she came I could feel it through my lips, like fireworks, different muscles around the vulva contracting and releasing in mini kicks like 10 per second, for 5 seconds. Was wild. This study really makes sense in that it's a spinal thing for ladies too, specifically the sympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. The mnemonic for neuroanatomists is P-oint and S-hoot. P-oint parasympathetic branch of the ANS induces erection. S-hoot sympathetic branch of the ANS induces ejaculation. Have a nice day, folks. I've noticed that when I am very aroused and about to mount a woman, for lack of a better phrase, my back gets a signal to like stretch and loosen and crack automatically. Must be related. In the Quran, chapter 86, verse 5,6,7. Let people then consider what they were created from. They were created from a spurting fluid, stemming from between the backbone and the rib cage. Okay team, we've got a situation here. Initiating protocol Google all systems full thrust, release on my command go. Now this was beautiful guys, well done. Ayo Jeff, go tell HQ. Note to brain from spinal cord: remember to change into your emergency sweatpants that you keep in your work desk once you get into the office. You'll thank me later. Is that synonymous with orgasm, or are the two occurrences separate, with one being caused by the other? Follow up: if yes, then where does a female orgasm originate from? Ejaculation is initiated by the spinal cord, not the brain. Oh, I always thought it was the naughty nurses and lonely housewives learn something new every day. After going through cancer treatment, the nerves that control this were removed for me. So no actual ejaculation when I orgasm anymore. It's pretty weird. What would happen if a drug blocked the signal to the brain that this happened? Would that result in no refractory period? Does such a thing exist? I wonder if it's the same neurons that tell me I am hungry. Like when you're hungry and that fluid noise shoots up at the back of your neck. Some people with specific spinal injuries will sometimes spontaneously orgasm. I hear they all pretty much hate it and it ruins their lives. This is because women used to bite our heads off during sex, I think. I'd learned about it in science class or something. So I have to wonder if there's a test that's used to determine the degree of spinal damage based on ejaculatory response. Is it possible to produce a medicine that can kind of control or inhibit the LST cells in order to make it last longer, control and coordinate the various aspects of ejaculation? Bruh, it's not that serious from balls to pee-pee, easy, that changes everything. I refrain from further ejaculating until I get more educated on this topic, so post-nut clarity is just the brain being upset at the spinal cord for jizzing at an inopportune time. Female ejaculation is caused by the brain because the brain controls your bladder. It's just pee. The morning after, many guys have long realized that their brain was not involved the night before. How does this explain men who ejaculate on demand? Sometimes twice in a row? These people exist. Today I learned, because of this post, that's why she loves massages. I have been used. Is this why I'm always so confused and dumbfounded afterwards? Brains just gets blindsided. Why is there not an animated comedy that covers the ridiculousness of our bodily functions? So this is why artificial disc replacement surgery can lead to retrograde ejaculation. I always thought it was initiated by my hand, or by a woman with very low standards. Well, if it was controlled by the brain, I don't think men would ever leave the house. Anybody who spanked it after taking 30 milligrams of Adderall knew this one. Am I right? Is this prompted by the recent re-release of the Science Versus episode on the topic? Is this that same cluster that's responsible for a lot of automation functions, so super scions are just splooging when they power up? Explains the screams. Place the cattle prod between the L5 and S1 vertebrae. Aim that thing first. Yo brain. Spinal cord here. Just thought you might like to know. This will be a useful tidbit to talk about at parties and social gatherings. That explains the last time I took acid I felt like I was about to bust one. I wonder if this explains the arching back some people get during orgasm. Good job, you fucking weirdo, you got so horny you jerked off to Wikipedia. But what about the dude that ejaculates if he farts when he's hard, lol? Wonder it hurt to ejaculate after my microdisectomy. I wonder if you could implant a stimulator rush just to workshop. How did it feel to write out ejaculation 3 different times? You know, I'm something of a spinal ejaculation generator myself. My brain is the imagination my spine needs to ejaculate. Awesome, that's why you control it through your body and not your mind. So can we finally find a way to turn off the refractory period, so we don't think with our brains, we think without spinal cord? This must be where the term put your back into it comes from. Might explain why I like to lie straight when I'm whacking it. Someone call the Muslim apologists. They're gonna love this. Your post history is rife with just facts. Keep them coming. I've always suspected the coccyx had something to do with it. Bone, you're coming. Brain, I'm WHHFHH. So that's why there's massages that lead to happy endings. My spine be looking like the bibbers when I'm popping off. So what you're saying is, I'm not thinking it all right now. Vape. I see a sudden surge in wearable devices coming. Need to get a spinal cord stimulator placed just right. So did Bruce come when Bane gave him the spine breaker? That explains all the brain dead parents I see around. How can I use this information to ejaculate at will?